Alright, so, welcome once again to What Would They Listen To? And I'm going to be talking about the, Avatar universe. Yep. I figure, but you're probably wondering, but wait a minute, they never had music back then? They never had rock and roll music? All they had was Sungi Horn and, that's about it. So, yeah, I figured, hypothetically, what would they listen to if these characters were in present day? What kind of music would they be rocking out to in, the present era? So, yeah, I figured this would be a fun one. Now, let's kick things off with Aang. Now, Aang would probably be listening to a lot of peaceful music. Moody Blues. For some reason, I can imagine Aang listening to the Moody Blues. That just seems like his kind of music. It's just him. I don't know, like, he'd be listening to the Moody Blues. I think he would also be listening to a lot of, like, calm and very, I wouldn't say somber, but very sweet music. Like, it's another good band that does a lot of... Probably the Eagles. Maybe the Eagles. I'm not the biggest Eagles fan, but... In fact, I'm not even a big Eagles fan, but... Yeah, I can imagine him listening. For some reason, I just imagine Aang kicking back listening to Hotel California. It just seems like him, Anyway, so a lot of easygoing. I can imagine a lot of 70s era rock and, some R&B would probably be in that list. Some slow jams, for when he and Katara are rocking it, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, speaking of which, let's move on to Katara. Now, Katara... Again, seems like very easygoing music. She seems like she would be into. She seems like a Stevie Nicks fan, doesn't she? Katara just seems like she would rock out to Stevie Nicks and also Fleetwood Mac. I just kind of see that, I just feels like natural for her, So that's kind of, that would be the big thing, is that she would listen to a lot of easygoing stuff as well. Maybe a little harder for when she's training. Maybe something a little harder. I wouldn't say too hard, though. So maybe, like, the hardest she'd go is, like, nothing too, nothing too extreme. Like, nothing that would just be screamo or whatever. But, laid back like that stuff. So let's move on to Sokka. Oh, boy. Sokka would be, he just seems like a Styx fan, doesn't he? For some reason, he just strikes me as like he would listen to... I just have this great image of him playing Lady by Styx, like, outside of Suki's home. Like, he's just... he has it... he's holding it over his head. He's just playing the song outside of Suki's room. Like, that image is just now stuck in my head, and I'm pretty sure it's stuck in all of your heads as well. I think, like, he would listen to some more progressive music. He does strike me as, like, he would probably listen to Breaking Benjamin. Maybe some Tool, but not a lot of Tool. Yeah, maybe some Tool. That'd probably be as hard as he goes. Maybe, some Korn, Disturbed. Maybe some dance music for when he's really, for when he's feeling really loose. So anyway, moving on now to Toph. Oh boy, Toph would just be a total metalhead. She would be listening to, like, Hailstorm and Theory of a Dead Man, anything with a loud, blaring guitar. She'd probably be listening to that. Drowning Pool, Disturbed, a lot of that kind of music would be on her playlist. A lot of that would be, just totally 100% on her playlist all the goddamn time. So, yeah, that's how I kind of see it. So let's talk. So moving on now to Sokka. Oh boy, this guy. You already know he'd be listening to Linkin Park, but this kid would just be blaring "Numb" by Linkin Park in his room all the goddamn day. Like that would be the general point where he would be just kind of he would just be kind of just listening to that. Again, another Breaking Benjamin. I actually see him listening to A Perfect Circle. Tool as well, but also probably a lot of Maynard James Keegan's works, like Pussifer and Perfect Circle and Tool. Like, all of those, but anything done by Maynard James Keegan would probably be on Zuko's playlist. I can even see... Well, this is probably... Going back to Toph real quick. Baby Metal would probably be on Toph's playlist. I'm just saying, like, that just seems like, that's as girly as she would get, and that's not saying much. A keyword not saying much because, Baby Metal goes frickin' hard. Call them J-pop band. They're not, it's pop metal, which is astonishing. That would probably be the lightest she'd go. And again, that is not saying much. So, yeah. But getting back to Zuko, again, Slipknot, Stone Sour, Metallica, a lot of that, a lot of metal stuff. So, that's how I see Zuko. The angry guy, but yeah, I could see him, when he really wants to get his anger out, he just jumps into a mosh pit. So moving on, let's move on to May. May would probably would just be Evanescence 24/7. That girl would be listening to Evanescence constantly. Like, that would be her forte right there. Like, that would all be her 100%. So, Evanescence, Birthday Massacre, Perfect Circle as well. A lot of, nothing really too hard. Evanescence would probably be the hardest she goes, but a lot of mellow stuff. Maybe, actually, no, the hardest she'd probably go is Nightwish. Nightwish would probably be the hardest, and maybe some other folk metal bands like Sonata Arctic. Well, they're not really folk metal, but a lot of that European kind of opera metal or symphonic metal kind of feel. Like, May just strikes me, she would go for like Nightwish and Sonata Arctica and Gamma Ray and Hammerfall, all these like symphonic metal type bands. Like, those would all be her 100%. Azula. Azula would just be rocking out to Korn in her white room. Like, that would be her thing. She would just be rocking out to Korn in her room, like listening to Chutes and Ladders while she's sitting there. Probably also like other bands like Iced Earth and Disturbed, Volbeat. Volbeat, like, yeah, for some reason, yeah, her and Zuko would probably like Volbeat. That's kind of the few things I see with Azula. Ty Lee would just be straight up pop, like your typical Katy Perry, Rihanna type stuff. Like, she would just be listening to a lot of pop music. The hardest, other stuff like maybe, yeah, some J-pop as well. Yeah, J-pop. Hardest she'd go is Baby Metal. Probably, yeah, she'd probably dig Baby Metal as well. But that's as far as into the metal genre as she would go. Also see some rap, some Kanye, some nothing like hard gangster rap like Tupac and Ice-T. That would also probably be, yeah, Ice-T, Tupac, Biggie. That would all be on Toph and Zuko's playlist as well. But yeah, like some Akon. That would probably be on her list. That would be on Ty Lee's list, I mean. But yeah. Just some light rap and, a lot of pop stuff. Anyway. I could seriously go on and on and on about this. Anyway. But I think that's enough. There's so many other characters, but I kind of figured, I've done enough. So you guys tell me, what kind of music do you think the gang and other characters from the Avatar universe would listen to? Just comment below, let me know, and once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.